On Tokyo Portfolio, we usually show you the most expensive houses and apartments in the most central parts of Tokyo. But today, we're gonna do something a little different. I'm here in Machida, and right behind me is a brand new $400,000 house. Let's go take a look, but before we do that, let's go see the neighborhood.
Machida is a suburb in western Tokyo, and at around an hour by car or train to Shinjuku, it is actually closer to Yokohama than it is central Tokyo. Though it is a bit outside of the city, residents rarely need to leave Machida since it is stocked with shopping centers like Aeon Malls, Mega Donkey, the gigantic version of the already massive Don Quixote, and a few branches of the popular and unfortunately named thrift shop chain Hard Off. With that, let's get back to the house.
So the house behind me, again, is brand new, and as you can see, it has these kind of teal-colored slats on the outside, and it might have a little American vibes to it. That's because they actually use the American 2x4s to build this whole thing. But what my favorite part of at least the exterior is this actual porch you got here. So you can have a little hammock or maybe a rocking chair or something out here and have a good time next to your new friend, the very scary-looking spider. Look at that guy. Ooh. Okay, but without any further ado, let's go inside. And now we're inside, and you can see you have the traditional sunken floor entrance. They call this the genkan in Japan. This is where you take off your shoes and change into your slippers, which they have kindly put out so many for us. But one thing you don't really get in most Japanese houses and apartments is a window in the genkan. And this gives it a little more light inside. It makes it feel a bit bigger than it already is. But to be honest, this is a pretty sizable one. I like it. But once you've taken off your shoes, you just come right over here to the walk-in shoe closet. Of course, you have to have one of these in every Japanese home, where you can fit all of your and your family and your friends' shoes very easily. But let's take a right over here and go into the kitchen and dining room. So coming into the living room and dining room kitchen area, you can see they have kind of cornered this off as a living room, right? You can put your TV right over there, just on that wall right there. And in Japan, since you don't really have too much space overall, it's a good idea to have these kind of rugs everywhere just to divvy up the room a little bit. But the nice thing about this is if you want, you can actually buy all of this furniture as well. So you can get this fully furnished, well, except for the upstairs, which we'll get to from day one once you move in. So coming out of the living room area and into the dining room area, you have this little dining room table, which I just love. It's kind of like a picnic table and a dining table all together, complete with a bench. Again, you can keep this if you wanted to, but if you want to just have a little bit of a lighter meal, you can do so right here at the breakfast bar. And in Japan, they're becoming a little bit more common these days, and I quite like having these. It's a good place to maybe just have a glass of wine after work, or as its name implies, a little bit of breakfast in the morning, ham and eggs or something. But my favorite part about this particular one is the very happy messaging that they give you. This is good party time. Okay. So of course, connected to the breakfast bar, you have the kitchen. And this is quite a spacious kitchen for a Japanese house, to be honest. Having this much room to walk from one side to the other is quite nice. You could have your fridge over here. Usually that's where you would put it. Oh, one thing. In Japan, normally you don't get a refrigerator, nor do you get an oven, nor do you get a dishwasher. But of course, you don't get the refrigerator for this one, but you do get a nice little dishwasher. It does work, it's small, but it's pretty much the standard size in Japan. And over here we have the closest thing in Japan to a built-in oven, the little fish grill, where you can just plop a little bit of fish or a little bit of toast. Sometimes you could use this as a little mini pizza oven or something like that. And yeah, just fire it all the way up. By the way, excuse my voice, I'm having a little bit of cold right now. But right above the little fish grill we have, as you can see, the burner, the cooktop. So this is completely flat, and that means it's easy to clean, but this is not a normal electric stove. This is actually an induction heat stove. These are becoming more and more common in Japan because they're actually better for the environment than gas. So that's kind of cool. And they also heat up water very, very quickly. And I love having that. But one other thing about this kitchen that I must tell you about is right in front of me. This is a very traditional thing in Japan. This is underfloor storage for the kitchen. You just put anything in there that you kind of need a bit cooler than room temperature. I don't know, something like canned goods or something like that. When they say a cool, dark place, this is where you put it. But if you don't have enough space in there for all of your goodies, there is an actual pantry right around here. This is the pantry. And as you can see, you have plenty of space in here. Right now there's some boxes in here, but yes, you can put your cute little cups and saucers and all of that in there, or you could put actual food stuff like it's meant to be. But this is plenty large for a Japanese kitchen. Without further ado, let's go see the bathroom. So right here is the bathroom. It's pretty common to have the bathroom right next to the kitchen because in Japan they try to cut costs a lot of the time, and having all of the piping really close to each other is a good way to do that. But as you can see, they have a nice single vanity in here. It's not a dual vanity, but it's still very large. And one thing about this is that you'll notice this isn't actually a medicine cabinet, it's just a mirror. So what do you do with all your stuff? I mean, sure, you could put it under there, but that's a little hard to reach, and yeah, it's not the greatest place to put things. But what if I told you that they actually put even more underfloor storage under here? They really like it in this house, huh? But this is a great place to have things that, again, you don't want to have too much heat on, so some kind of cosmetics or something like that. But that's right there. And right over here, we have, of course, the linen closet. So you can put some towels over here, or anything that you just want to have nice and clean and ready to go after your bath. But one thing, this would not be a Japanese bath if it didn't have the washing machine piping over here. I mentioned in the kitchen that houses and apartments for sale in Japan don't come with fridges or ovens or anything like that. One more thing they don't come with is a washer and dryer, which you would put right here. And as you can see, there's only one pipe in here. That's because in Japan, most of the time, you don't actually wash with hot water, you wash with cold water, which is pretty rare, but the washing machines over here do a pretty good job anyway. And of course, right next to the washing machine area is where you can dry the clothes. In this case, it also happens to be the bathroom. And as you can see, you have this panel right here. If you press this button, then the entire bathroom becomes a clothing dryer. And speaking of bathrooms, let's come inside and see. This is what they call a unit bath in Japan. Everything in here is prefabbed at a factory somewhere, and then they just take it here and assemble it like Legos, and then you have your bathroom. No leaks, no nothing like that, and actually it's pretty good with mold, which is a pretty big problem in Japan. But as you can see, very nicely sized bath, and yeah, I like this a lot actually. This is what they call a family type bath. This is enough to have maybe a parent and a child, or both parents in here, and yeah, have plenty of space to bathe. But one thing that you'll see in a lot of Japanese baths is this thing right here. This is actually what they use to keep the water warm when you're not using the bath. In Japan, families often use the same bath water. They shower outside of the bath and then come into the bath. I'm just destroying the walls here. And this is how you can keep it kind of warm. This is insulated right here. So when you take your bath, you leave that on there, and then the next person can come in and still have a nice warm bath. But that was the first floor. Let's go see the second. So coming upstairs from where the living room and dining room are is where both of the bedrooms are. This is a 95 square meter, or just about 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, and this is the first of the two. And you can see it's quite spacious. This is 9 jo. 1 jo is 1 tatami mat, and this is about maybe 15 square meters, 150 square feet. And yeah, it's quite spacious. You can fit a bed of pretty much any size in here, maybe even a little desk or something like that. But what I like is just all the windows and all the natural light that you get in here, with some pretty high ceilings, at least for a Japanese house. And of course, what would a good bedroom be without a good closet? And this one has a really good closet. It's a very nicely sized walk-in closet, as you can see. These days in Japan, they're becoming more common. I'd say that this is a big enough closet for 2 or 1 if you have a lot of clothes. And if you have even more clothes than that, you can always stick a couple of wardrobes over here, so you'll have plenty of storage space for all of your clothes. But let's go over here into the hallway. You'll see we have a toilet over here. We didn't actually show you the toilet on the first floor, but this house is a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, so 1 full bath and 2 toilets. And as you can see, this is the Japanese style toilet where you have, of course, the butt warmer, butt washer, all that good stuff. And this one I love. This is a pretty common feature these days, is to have a sink that is attached to your toilet. So when you flush the toilet, the clean water will be coming out of the sink so you can wash your hands, and then all of the water that you use to wash your hands would flow right into the toilet bowl. It saves on water a lot, but let's go see the last bedroom, which is right over here. First thing you'll notice when you walk in here is that it's a bit darker than the other bedroom, and that's because this is actually the darker side of the house. But one thing I want you to look at is this guy right here. You can see there's a hole or like a covered something, and you might not know what that is right away. This is actually where they put the cables for the AC unit. So you can install an AC unit maybe right over here or right over here, and then just have the cords leading out to the outer unit come through there. And this is where you would plug it in as well. But I want to also look at this. We have two plugs right next to each other. Why would you have two plugs like this right next to each other? Well, if you look really closely, you might notice that there's a wall that comes right here. This is actually structural. They need this in order for the house to not fall down. But if you were to extend this wall, you could turn this into 2 bedrooms instead. And that's why they even have 2 separate entrances and 2 closets, as you can see over here. So maybe one for one of your kids and one for the other kid. And if you do eventually do that, they even have another hole over there for your AC units. But this place, again, is listed for 54 million yen, which is, in today's exchange rate, about $400,000. And what do you get with that? Well, you get 1,000 square feet, give or take, 2 very nice bedrooms, a nice bath, and also 2 toilets. And one of my favorite kitchens in Tokyo. Well, in Machida at least. To learn more about this property, you can look in the link in the description below. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you would like, and of course, subscribe on YouTube. Until next time, thanks for watching.